Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. That's TicketBash.com, where you'll never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is being brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, and when you go there, see our good friend Gus, mention Sports Bash, and you'll get a free dessert on Gus and all our friends at the Embassy Diner. It's also being brought to you by the Falcone Law Firm. The Falcone Law Firm could be reached at 631-607-4LA-LAW. That's 631-607-4529. If you need to speak to an attorney or do any family or estate planning, reach out to Falcone Law Firm. We're also being brought to you by the Marty Lyons Foundation. The Marty Lyons Foundation is the official charity of Sports Bash, and you could visit them at martylyonsfoundation.org. That's martylyonsfoundation.org. Look for the tab where they have sponsors, because every purchase you make, a portion of that purchase goes back to a fantastic cause, the Marty Lyons Foundation, granting wishes to children, not only here locally in the Tri-State area, but across the United States. And I'd like to say good morning. My name is Vinny Tickets. Peter is off today. We gave him a break. And the number to call into the show is 631-451-1039. I'd first like to wish my partner in crime here, good old Wiz, a good morning. So good morning to you, Wiz.
Good morning to you, Vinny. How's your morning been?
Every morning's a great morning. When I wake up on this side of the ground, every morning is a great morning.
Oh, sounds good.
Yes. So later in the show, we'll have This Day in Sports History. We'll have This Day in Sports History poll question. And right now it is time for the Sports Bash Flash, brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. The Embassy Diner is located at 4280, that's 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. And when you mention Sports Bash, you'll get a free dessert with your meal. Now, to go start with the local area teams, we have the New York Yankees are home this weekend. They'll return to action tomorrow on Friday, when they'll open up a series with the Rays at Yankee Stadium. So as they come out of the All-Star break, they had a little glimmer of hope going into the All-Star break. They almost had a sweep if they didn't have that debacle of a game on that Sunday. How important do you think it is, Wiz, for the Yankees this weekend to make a statement against a tough opponent, the Rays, who always seem to have the Yankees number? How important do you think a victory or a sweep or 2 out of 3 is this weekend?
I mean, this is a team in the AL East that the Yankees have fought ever since 1998, and especially the last decade, they've been a real thorn in the pinstripe side. So against a divisional opponent with one game back of first place and holding on the first wild card in the American League, this is an absolute must-win series for the Yankees if they really want to win that division.
So you say it's a must-win series. 2 out of 3? 3-game series, right? 2 out of 3, you're happy with that?
From my understanding, it's 4 games.
4 games.
It's 4 games, so I would say try to go for at least a split, but preferably 3 out of 4 would be optimal for the Yankees.
Okay, and how about your Metsies?
I would say for them, they're currently the 3rd wildcard team. They're against a Miami Marlins team who is the worst team in the National League. It's them and the Rockies. They're 93 brethren. 4 worse in the NL. So if the Mets want to continue that momentum, they're currently the 3rd wildcard spot. They're against a divisional opponent, a not-so-great divisional opponent. You have to beat them, but also do not take them for granted, especially as this could be a trap game for them. So, like the Yankees against the Rays, they need to split or at least go 3 out of 4 against the Marlins. They have to.
Yeah, I happen to agree with you. I think coming out of the break, for the Yankees and the Mets, and for anybody in baseball for that matter, when you come out of the break, I think it almost makes a statement to say, hey, we got a break. We took a deep breath. We know what we need. We know what we need to do. So as all of these teams, everybody, baseball is dark today, and, they'll turn the lights back on for tomorrow. But as everybody comes out of the break, I think it's very important, not only for the Yankees and the Mets, but if you're going to make a run over the next 90 days, right, to the playoffs, I think over the next week or 2 weeks, you really, really, really need to make a statement right now. So let's move over to the Olympics. And for those that are listening and watching live, keep in mind that ticketbash.com is handling all the Olympic events. So you could go to ticketbash.com. You could reach out to a representative there. They are handling every single, from the opening ceremony to the closing ceremony for the Olympics. So go to ticketbash.com if you're there, or if you know somebody who is going to the Olympics. Keep ticketbash.com in mind. Now, when we talk about the Olympics, let's talk about the USA basketball team. Right now, they're 3-0 in the exhibition play. They beat Serbia 105-79. Steph Curry led the team with 24 points. In soccer, the Red Bulls and Montreal played to a 2-2 tie, and NYCFC in Atlanta also played to a 2-2 tie as well. In golf, the Open Championship gets underway today. In the Atlantic League, the Long Island Ducks beat the Staten Island Yankees 3-1. And in softball, our good friend Peter Schwartz, the host of the show, is covering that. Unfortunately, he was rained out yesterday, and they'll have a makeup game today at 12 o'clock. Now, coming up after the break, we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to cover. We have today's Sports Bash poll question, as well as This Day in Sports History. We'll be covering that as well. And for our Facebook and YouTube listeners, as always, through the break, stay tuned. We will be giving away on the back tomorrow on the show. We'll be giving away a pair of Yankee tickets for the Yankees-Rays game on Sunday. And while we're talking about baseball, I know they're talking about a lot of these franchises. They're adding 2, is it?
There's talk about going from 30 to 32. They said they'd be doing it once they finally get the situation with the A's under control, and even the Rays as well, because they're both looking for new stadiums. A's leaving Oakland to at least Sacramento. Rays trying to stay in the St. Petersburg, Tampa area, but who knows what happens there.
Yeah. So the A's will be moving to Vegas.
If things all according to plan, they're going to be at Sacramento from 3 to 4 years at least, and they're going to try to get that stadium up created in Vegas as a result.
Yeah, I think they knocked down. I was out there. We were out there actually about 6 months ago, and they actually were starting to knock down the hotel. Maybe it was 9 months ago, but they were starting to knock down the hotel for the location. But when we talk about baseball and the expansion teams, there are 4 cities. Tell us what those 4 cities are that they're thinking about adding a baseball team to.
Yes, there's 4 main cities in contention: Nashville, Tennessee, Austin, Texas, Salt Lake City, Utah, and Portland, Oregon. Those are the 4 that are getting the most attention, but there's also a little bit of murmurs of Charlotte or Raleigh for North Carolina, as well as Montreal, Quebec, which I would absolutely love to see come back. That's my dream.
Yeah, I remember you got all excited when we were at the Met game when we saw somebody with the Montreal Expos hat. Remember that? A guy was walking around with the Expos hat. You don't see that too often.
I have an Expos hat, and I would say that having another team outside the U.S. is a dream of mine to see again.
Yeah. So when we talk about these cities, where do you think the best fit is for Major League Baseball to add a team right now?
Oh, easily Nashville, Tennessee, without a question, without a shadow of a doubt, because the only team that really gets a lot of the attention of the South is the Atlanta Braves. And yeah, I understand you have, the Rays and the Marlins down in Florida, but it does not compare to the impact or the scope that the Atlanta Braves had, thanks to the legend of Ted Turner putting the games on TBS all the same time. But having a team in Nashville would either give an interleague rivalry or an intra-league rivalry with the Braves. But if not that, I would love to.
So your first choice is Nashville.
Yes.
Second choice.
In terms of want or in terms of just
Want.
Oh, well, if in terms of likeliness is Nashville, but in terms of one, obviously Montreal, because I want to see another team in Canada, and because Montreal, compared to those cities, is the largest. But I would not be shocked if Austin ends up getting a team too, because the Astros and Rangers have been great, winning World Series, and Texas is getting a bigger and bigger population, and Austin just got a soccer team. They could try to get a baseball team as well. That'd be pretty fun.
That's a lot of baseball for one state. Keep in mind that Tennessee is a baseball state. It really is. You're right there in the Bible Belt. Actually, the Tennessee Volunteers, my number one college team now because my son's a freshman there, Tennessee Volunteers won the World Series this year, which was a great event to watch. And every single game was sold out. We're going to go to the break. We're going to stay live with our YouTube, Facebook, and all our other listeners. We'll be back in just a second. We'll be covering you after the break, but stay tuned for our live listeners that are watching us on the stream.
Hi, I'm Peter Ford. And I'm Peter Tickets. We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
Okay, we are back and we are still streaming, and let's finish that conversation. I know we have a lot to cover on the back end of the show, but when we talk about baseball, right, you're talking about a city like or a state like Tennessee, and the South is very, very well known for baseball. One of the reasons that you don't see a slew of talent coming out of the North or coming out of anywhere in the North, whether it be your New York, and obviously there's been a lot of great talent that's come out of our area and a lot of other northern places. But keep in mind that it is a lifestyle. When you go south, when you're in the South, it's a lifestyle. It's not in the northern areas. They are playing a lot of different sports. They have different seasons. They have different sports. When you're in a sunshine area, these cities, these states in the South, and of course in the Caribbean, these young men are playing baseball 365 days a year. So keep in mind that they have huge fanship, and I'd love to see Tennessee get a team. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. To call into the show, the number is 631-451-1039. Call into the show at 631-451-1039. We always welcome your calls, your comments, your opinions, and even if we don't agree with them, we still want to hear from you. So it's time for the Sports Bash Media Poll question. And what we do is we post a new poll question every weekday on the Sports Bash Media, X or Twitter. We post that on our page. And the results from Tuesday's poll question, all right, what should the Lakers do with Bronny James? And I think we have a little bit of conversation to discuss there. I know Wiz was telling me before the show about Bronny having his best outing. So the question was this week, what should the Lakers do with Bronny James? And here are the results. Keep him on the Lakers roster, 7%. That's only 1 out of 15 people.
Yeah, I think the idea of him potentially only be on the roster would basically be like how Thanasis is on the Bucks. It would be there just for motivation for Giannis.
Okay, so I think most people feel, it looks like from the results of the poll, 7% of the people said they should keep him on the team as a position player. 56% of the people said send him down to the G League. And an astonishing 37% of the people feel that they should release Bronny James. And I would have to disagree with that because he probably has if not, now that's a whole other debate, LeBron or Jordan, right? We always hear that debate. We've discussed it. We hear whatever circles you get into. They're always having that debate. But he does have a fantastic mentor in the basketball world. One of the greatest, if not, and I won't give my opinion just yet, but LeBron James is definitely one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And he has that man as his coach. How do you feel about that?
I feel like when you're on a team where LeBron James is your dad and LeBron James has more power than any other player in the NBA, there is absolutely less than a 0% chance that LeBron would cut his son from the team. He said for many times that his dream is to play with his son. So, no, he is not cutting Bronny. However,
Whoa. I didn't know that they made him the coach.
No, he's not the coach. I understand you hear the joke of la GM, la coach, but LeBron James.
That's great. What do they do?
The people who nickname him la GM or la coach, they've been calling him that for years. It's like a joke because he has more power than any other player. However, there's no way they're going to cut Bronny. However, I think more than likely he's going to go to the G League. But there's also a big plus here too. Bronny, despite being the 55th overall pick, like we mentioned, Zachary Ricochet from the Hawks was the number 1 pick, and Alex Sarko number 2. He would get a lot more eyeballs on the G League. This would be also really, really good for not just the Lakers, but also just for the NBA as a whole. It would give more attention to the G League and not just show Bronny, but also show the other players that have gotten up. Like you look at other really good players. You have Pascal Siakam, who got his name from being in the G League. You have Alex Caruso now on the Oklahoma City Thunder. He got a lot of his name also in the G League. So this would be really, really good to show other potential future starting players in the NBA. So I'd say you put him in the G League. It's a positive for Bronny to help him develop, and it's also positive for those other guys as you get to see them get more attention.
Right. So do you think he did receive preferential treatment because of who he is and where he went in the draft?
Of course, obviously. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's always been nepotism in every kind of sport. You look at all these family-run establishments. They stick within the family. Is it because the family member is the most qualified? No, it's because you go with what you're comfortable with. And you also look in the sporting world. Like, for instance, the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones is the one in charge, but you also look his kids, Steven, Jerry Jr., and Carolyn Jones, I think that's her name. They're all in charge. These family members are all in charge of, or you look at the Florida Panthers. Not only is Vincent Viola the owner, but his wife and his 3 kids, John, Michael, and Travis, are all involved within the organization and all have their names on the Stanley Cup. So, yeah, nepotism's always been a thing. So people making a big deal about it and complaining, I never had much of an issue because it's always been the case. Yeah,
I think that it's a lot more, obviously you have to realize that in a situation like this, they're out on Front Street. When someone is running a team or running an organization or running a business, it's not as much in the spotlight. But when you talk about LeBron James, he's one of the, if not the most high-profile players in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
So when you talk about Bronny James, getting some preferential treatment, it's pretty difficult to sweep an event like that under the rug.
Oh, yeah, but if I'm being honest, I think people have been wanting this to happen for years now because we've always wanted to see LeBron James play with his son. We've always wanted to see that. So the fact that people are getting upset with him for doing it is absurd because a lot of us have always wanted to see this play out, and now that it's playing out, we're going to be upset at LeBron James for doing that? No, we've been wanting to do this. If anything, he's doing what we want him to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. So the next thing that we're going to cover is we're going to talk about the New York Yankees. I think we have about 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, for the trade deadline that'll be coming up. And this question today, and we'll obviously announce the results of this poll tomorrow. We'll let you know what people think, and then we'll talk about that a little bit. What is the Yankees' biggest need right now at the trade deadline. And we're going to give you a few choices. And you could go on to X or Twitter and voice your opinion there, and then we'll give you the results tomorrow. I know what I think, but what is the Yankees' biggest need at the trade deadline? And our choices are going to be starting pitching, relief pitching, an outfielder, or an infielder, right? Those are your four choices. What do you think?
Easily bullpen, because especially when you get into the postseason, the playoffs, all that matters is not just how well you can hit, but it's also about how good your defense is. There's the expression you hear over and over again: defense wins championships. And what is the defense in this situation? Well, the defense is the pitching, and you also can't just rely on your starters. You need good bullpen help. Those people bolster up your rotation. It's a big reason why the Yankees had their dynasty in the late 90s and early 2000s. It's because they had quality bullpen help. You also look at like the Houston Astros, or you also look at the Texas Rangers. These teams all had quality bullpen help and have gotten pieces at the deadline. That's what the Yankees need to do.
There you go. All right. I happen to agree with you. I'm not sure that cardiac plays our answer right now. All-star, I should say all-star cardiac. Let's swing it over to you for this day in sports history, Wiz.
Well, let's go back to basketball, as in this day in 2018, the Toronto Raptors made one of the greatest trades in NBA history and one of the greatest trades in the history of sports in Canada, as they traded for San Antonio Spurs forward and then Finals MVP for 2014, Kawhi Leonard, and they traded away Jakob Poeltl and, of course, DeMar DeRozan to get him. And even though Kawhi spent 1 year with the Raptors, he made it worth it. And he led the team to their first ever finals win in history, the first ever one in Canada, and was finals MVP. No matter what happens, he is a legend in Canada for that alone.
Great job, Wiz. I'm glad you picked an item from the last 10 years. And our good friend Mike in West Islip will be very happy to hear that. Mike was looking for some current events. On Friday, it's another free ticket Friday. We'll be giving away 2 Yankee tickets. Okay? The Yankees and the Mets will be in action this weekend. That'll do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com, where you will never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by the Falcone Law Firm, and by our good friends at the Marty Lyons Foundation, as well as everybody over at Collaborate Studios, our great friend Chris there. For our entire crew here, Joe behind the glass, Wiz, Nick running the cameras, have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.